Becky, will you please do roll call?
Mayor Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Crone,
Here.
Councilmember Grove,
Here.
Councilmember Pierce,
Here.
Councilmember Sinclair,
Here.
Councilmember Battenberg is absent.
Well, this looks like one of the lightest agendas we've ever had. So it definitely shouldn't be a long meeting for those of you who are joining us for the first time. But we'll go ahead and start with item D, open forum. Open forum is the time for anyone here tonight to address the council on the subject, any subject over which the council has the authority to act, or on any item on the agenda other than a public hearing item, which we don't have any of those tonight. So really on anything over which we have the authority to act. Anyone here tonight that wishes to address the council can approach the podium, or if participating via Zoom, go ahead and click on the raise hand icon located in the reactions controls. And once you've been acknowledged, you will need to state your name and address for the record. Go ahead, come on.
Yeah, I got a question. I was here last time and trying to make David Groves, 280 Parkview Drive, sorry. I was here last time trying to make a point that I've been trying to make for quite some time about the debris that got shot all over. I got an email from Brad. I quit reading when he told me, but your neighbors have already settled. I don't care. I do not care. And that also doesn't mean they're done. There's still damage there, and one of them I know is going to still come back. Does that mean when they signed the check that they were done?
Yeah. So the email also asked that you submit an itemized list.
I understand. I'm
And-
waiting on some of those. Because I'm
Okay.
putting everything on there now. I've been vacuuming that thing, that debris that I just handed her. I was gonna ask her, if I threw it at them, would you charge me with anything?
This is,
Let
so,
me ask you a
no,
question.
wait, we're not going to have an argument from the podium. I understand you're upset. We've asked for an itemized list, but I will be happy to talk to you about this and go through it with you after the meeting today, one-on-one, if you would like.
Are you the decision maker? That's my biggest question.
We are all decision makers. We're a council. We make decisions together.
Okay. So you want to talk after the meeting? I'm fine with
Yes,
that.
yes, I would be glad to.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Ainger. I live at 552 Northeast Westgate Drive, and I've lived there for the past 8 years or so. I'm here tonight to share my concerns about the traffic and safety issues on my street and throughout my neighborhood. I've previously reached out via email, and I know several of my neighbors have also contacted the city. So I know that this is an active issue that everyone's aware of. We truly appreciate your willingness so far to listen, and we appreciate those steps taken so far. That said, I'm here in person tonight because many of us remain deeply concerned and quite frankly worried that something very serious will happen if conditions don't change. Since the closure of Alice's Road, the character of our street has completely changed. According to the city's own traffic study, volume on our road has increased by 82% since November. That's not a minor bump. That's a fundamental, dramatic shift in, and it has really turned what should be a normal residential street into a busy thoroughfare. And with that increase has come a rise in speeding, aggressive driving, and safety risks, especially during those afternoon peak hours. Nearly every neighbor I've spoken to has a story of being tailgated and even passed when on this residential street. It happens all the time, unfortunately. We're going the speed limit and we'll get passed on the left. Pedestrians at crosswalks are frequently ignored. It's common to see cars kind of flying down the street well in excess of the 25 miles per hour speed limit. So I'd ask, imagine if this were your street, you would probably be frustrated by this as well. I'd certainly welcome anyone here to come hang out in my driveway with me some evening, and you could see it for yourself. But the sad reality is, our street no longer feels like a safe place for kids to play. There's a ton of kids on our street. There's families walking to the park nearby. We have Fox Creek Park right behind. Westgate Drive is a wide, straight road with no features that naturally slow down drivers as they're, to act appropriately for a residential area. Even those well-meaning drivers unintentionally speed because the road design essentially encourages it. While the situation has worsened for sure with the closure of Alice's Road, those issues have existed for years. I do want to acknowledge and thank the city for installing electronic speed signs and for the increased police presence. That's been appreciated. It's a good start. We appreciate that, but I have to be honest, signs alone aren't going to change the driver behavior when it's this easy and comfortable to speed down this wide street. We need some short-term changes for sure that will physically slow drivers down, things like stop signs or other temporary measures. I'm sure there's lots of options available, but alongside a longer-term strategy to identify ways to address the underlying design. Now, I'm no traffic engineer, don't pretend to be, but I know there are ways to physically and passively reduce speed, whether it's things like mini roundabouts or center medians or curb extensions at intersections. Even stop signs at key intersections would be welcome, I think, by all of my neighbors. I recognize these aren't exactly quick or easy fixes and inexpensive fixes as well. But I'm here to ask that this issue not be quietly deprioritized. None of us signed up to live on what is essentially a main busy road at this point. Our driveways face this street. Backing out is a challenge, for instance. Not that that's, really the main concern, but we can't avoid the traffic, the noise, the speeding, or the safety risks. Ours is a neighborhood full of young kids, as I said, with a bike trail and Fox Creek Park right there. Lots of pedestrians. This area should feel very pedestrian friendly, but right now it just doesn't. While I respect the data that the traffic study showed, our personal experience tells a different story from even just a year ago. With continued development north of Hickman and Douglas, it seems to me anyway that it's unlikely traffic volumes will drop all that much, even after Alice's Road reopens, hopefully this fall. Of course, this will all happen again when the next section of Alice's closes next spring, as I understand it. Westgate is now being used as a major north-south corridor, and that's a problem. It's also affecting the connecting streets. I have some neighbors that live on the connecting streets. They report similar issues, people looking for ways around, and no regard for the people that live in this neighborhood. I hope the council will continue to prioritize this issue and, more importantly, take action. I would also be more than happy to serve as a volunteer or a resource of some kind for any future discussion or efforts to address this. Thank you all for your time today and for your service to our community.
Thank you. We do have both short-term and long-term considerations we're evaluating at this time, and so we would be happy to chat with you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Brittany Freund, 602 Northeast Westgate Drive. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Steve said, a couple stories that happened recently. Yesterday, I watched a young mother walking with her baby in a stroller down the sidewalk as these teenage boys, loud music, driving very fast down the road, yelling. I couldn't tell what they were yelling, but just yelling at this mother walking her baby, speeding. Just very frustrating to see that and to see people in our community just not care. And then today, my daughter has a friend that lives in the cul-de-sac across the street. She wanted to ask her to play. I walked with her. We had to wait a long time just to cross the street. And then on the way back, someone stopped. They were in a van, lots of traffic. They probably live in the neighborhood, understand it's hard to cross the street. So she slowed down, stopped, put her flashers on so that we could cross. And as we're crossing, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many people just go around. Like, what if someone decided not to wait and just pass them and then hit me and my child? So Steve's right. There are a lot of neighbors that are very concerned about the safety. There are like at least 30 kids in our neighborhood that like to play in the front yard. I'm sorry,
Oh, don't be.
there's a trail sidewalk out front, so there's a lot of people and bikes going up and down the street. And then again, we're trying to back out of our driveways, and so we're trying to pay attention to the people on the trail sidewalk because we get a ton of people going to the park and the cars coming, and it's just, it took me 3 minutes to wait, and now I gotta wait for this, mom and kid. Okay, I'm fine with that. Well, now I got more traffic coming, and it's taking me 5 minutes just to get out of my driveway. So yes, anything you can do to deter traffic from our street would be highly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Ron Palmer, 1582 Southeast Blackthorn Drive. Everybody that lives in our homeowners association has a question about whether that's a public street or a private drive. We know it's a private drive. I've had spats with Earl May, their employees driving down there. I holler out private drive if I'm outside. I've had some of them stop and say, this is a public street. We've called the city, we've called the police departments, and they said it's a public street. It's not a public street. It's private. And I know we can't keep customers from Earl May from driving up and down there. We've got big signs up that says stop, private drive, so on and so forth. It's helped some, but not a lot. Stivers, they come over there, fill up cars for the new cars that they sell. They cut through there to go to Quick Star to fill up the cars. They fill up their own vehicles there. What I would like to see happen, if we could, is can the city send a letter to Earl May and to Stivers, letting them know that it is a private drive and not a public street. The other thing that I would like to see, maybe the city could help us and put up some signage as well that says not a public street, private. Something to go along with the signs that we have that would help with that, if that's possible. And again, I would, stay and talk to you after the meeting if I need to get into more depth of some of this stuff. But we've spent probably $15,000 to $20,000 fixing that street because of the cracks and everything. And we're just trying to minimize the traffic that goes down there because they're not paying the dues, we are. And they need to understand that when the road goes bad, we fix it. And to be perfectly honest, I'd be glad to give it to you guys. If you guys wanted to maintain it and everything, that'd be great. But I know you don't want it. So that's the reason I'm here, is just to see if something could be done to help us try to get the employees from there not to use it. The other thing is, I would love to close off one end. It's a private drive, so the way I look at it, if it's a private drive, why can't we do what we want to? And I'd put nice planters down at the one end and have it closed off. But I went through that one other time and I did the right thing. I asked the city and they said, well, we can't do that because emergency vehicles have to get through there. Here's my question. If we lived on a cul-de-sac, police and fire trucks and everything would have to come in from one end. So what's the difference?
Yeah, so I appreciate you coming and sharing this with us. I can almost guarantee you that nobody from the city has told people it's a private drive, but, or that it's a public drive, but what I will put it on a discussion for a work session at a
Okay.
future meeting, and then we will get back with you about potential next steps.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, there is one other thing that may help. And to the west of us, we have a parking lot that's for overflow parking. Half of it belongs to Earl May and half of it belongs to us. That particular parking lot, there is a way, if the city would do it, to make a exit there out onto Golden Harvest, and they could go that way. But I don't know if that's something you guys would look at doing or not. Just adding another driveway down there to where they can pull out on that other street, and maybe that'll keep them from coming down Blackthorn.
Sure.
So,
No, I appreciate you coming and sharing your concerns with us, and we'll definitely get back with you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any hands raised on Zoom?
No, there are no hands raised in Zoom.
Open forum is closed. Item E is agenda approval. Can I get a motion to approve? Second. Any discussion? Please vote.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Sinclair,
Yes.
Agenda item I1 is the consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Please vote.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Sinclair,
Yes.
Agenda item I2, consideration of approval of a resolution approving site plan for Casey's number 4658 at 3090 Grand Prairie Parkway. Can I get a motion? Move to approve. Okay. Melissa?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The owner and applicant is Casey's Marketing Company. The property is located north of Southeast Kettlestone Boulevard, west of Grand Prairie Parkway. It contains 1.5 acres in area. The property is zoned K-RR Kettlestone Retail Regional District. The project includes the construction of a single-story building for a Casey's General Store that is just under 5,000 square feet in area. The site plan also includes a fuel canopy and 10 fuel pumps. I'm going to zoom in on the site so you can see the layout a little bit better. A monument sign is proposed at the southeast corner of the site. A trash enclosure is proposed at the north side of the site. 2 accesses will be provided into the site, one off of Grand Prairie Parkway and then another off the south side of the site off of Southeast Kettlestone Boulevard. Parking and landscaping requirements are being met. A 5-foot wide sidewalk will be constructed along the south side of the site. And then a 10-foot wide trail exists along Grand Prairie Parkway to the east of the site. A pedestrian connection will be provided into the site from the sidewalk that is going to be installed along the south side. Public utilities are provided. Stormwater detention will be provided with regional detention, which is located to the west of the site within the overall Kettlestone Lakes development. And then the building elevations, pretty typical. Casey's, mostly brick, some stone accents, and then storefront glazing. So the bottom of this screen is what you'll see from Grand Prairie Parkway. And then the fuel canopy, they will be wrapping the columns with brick as well to match the building. And I think that's all I have in here. The trash enclosure will also match the building with that brick. Staff recommends approval of the site plan, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, please vote.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Sinclair,
Yes.
Item I3, consideration of approval of a temporary use permit for Boom Daddy Fireworks at 140 Southeast Laurel Street. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Andy?
Good evening, Mayor Clark and council members. Before you is tonight's consideration of approval of a temporary use permit for Boom Daddy Fireworks generally located at 140 Southeast Laurel Street. The site plan generally identifies a 1,500 square foot temporary tent and some storage structures or storage container, I should say, generally located in the parking lot for Warrior Plaza. So this is where like Mickey's is at, Dollar Tree, and then some other local businesses as well. Fire department has signed off on the permit. The tent will need to be inspected by the fire department. The applicant has provided all of the necessary information from the state fire marshal, proof of insurance, and then other requirements in order to operate a temporary use permit for sale of combustible materials. Staff is recommending approval of the permit. The proposed permit request is for June 22nd through July 6th, with hours of operation from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. On all days, with the exception of hours of operation till 11 p.m. on the 4th of July. Other than that, staff recommends approval. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Under the new law, does anything change with regards to our ability to oversee?
Excuse me, not as it pertains to the sale of fireworks, the law change related to when they can be shot off.
Okay. All right. All right, please vote.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Sinclair.
Yes.
Item J is reports. Brad?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't necessarily have anything for the city, but I'll put on another hat and just rep the Waukee Palooza this weekend. That's being put on by the Rotary Club, which ultimately will benefit nonprofit organizations within our community. So that'll be this Saturday, just to the west of Hy-Vee, several bands, I believe starting around 4 o'clock.
Chris, no report? No report. Rob?
No report.
Ben?
No report.
Well, I just want to say thank you, not just to the council, but to our incredible staff. We finished 2 days of strategic planning on Friday, and much of that work was obviously really driven by staff and the incredible amount of work you've put into the next set of goals for the city. So just thank you guys very much. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.